Okay, so think about this. How often do you ask your smart assistant something you know you used to remember? Or maybe let a recommendation algorithm just completely pick your movie for the night.
Mm.
It's pretty amazing, all this AI stuff. But, like, have you ever stopped to wonder what all this convenience is maybe doing to our brains, to how we actually think for ourselves?
That's a really critical question. And actually, it's something recent research is starting to shed light on.
Okay.
So today, yeah, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. How these AI tools we use all the time might be impacting our critical thinking skills.
Right.
Our goal here is really to unpack the latest studies, especially one key paper by Gerlich from 2025, and also bring in perspectives from places like IEEE.org, Frontiers, even a Reddit thread, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, the idea is to give you the insight, to help you navigate this AI world a bit more, well, mindfully.
Okay, good plan. So let's maybe start with some basics, key terms. First, critical thinking. Sounds a bit academic. What does it really mean for us day to day?
Yeah, it does sound formal, but it's actually super practical. Think of it as your brain's built-in detective.
Okay.
It's the ability to look at information, analyze it, weigh the evidence, and then form your own conclusions based on reason, not just taking things at face value.
So digging deeper, basically.
Exactly. It's knowing how to think about facts, not just memorize them. Crucial for dealing with, well, everything complex out there.
Got it. And the other term you mentioned, cognitive offloading. This one sounds important.
It really is. Cognitive offloading is basically when we hand over thinking tasks, remembering stuff, solving problems, making decisions to something outside our own head.
Like, okay, give me an example.
Well, the classic one is remembering where to find information, say on Google, instead of remembering the information itself.
Right, the Google effect.
Exactly. Or using a calculator for simple math instead of working it out.
Yeah.
You're letting an external tool do the mental work, reducing your own deep thinking on it.
You're kind of outsourcing your brain power.
That's a good way to put it. And this becomes a real issue when it starts touching critical thinking, because that needs active mental effort if you're not using those thinking muscles.
You lose them. Use it or lose it.
That's the concern, yeah. Which brings us right to the big question. Is AI causing more of this offloading? And that's precisely what this Gerlich 2025 study looked into. How do they actually set it up? Well, they used what's called a mixed methods approach, which is pretty smart, actually.
Meaning,
Meaning they didn't just rely on surveys, the big numbers. They also did in-depth interviews to get the personal stories, the why, behind the numbers.
combining the broad picture with the detail.
Exactly. Gave them a much richer understanding. They had 666 participants in the UK, diverse group, different ages, education levels, jobs. Split them into younger folks, 17-25, middle-aged, 26-45, and older, 36 plus.
And what were they actually measuring? How did they track AI use in thinking?
They focused on three main things. One, how often people were actually using different AI tools. Two, their general tendency towards this cognitive offloading we talked about. And three, crucially, their critical thinking skills.
How do you even measure critical thinking?
They used established tools, like the Halpern Critical Thinking Assessment, to get objective scores. But they also asked people to rate their own abilities, their self-perception.
Okay, so objective and subjective measures. Got it. And the results. What did the numbers actually show? This is where it gets interesting, right?
Yeah, this is where it gets quite stark, actually. The quantitative stuff, the numbers, confirm their first hypothesis pretty strongly.
Which was?
That higher AI tool usage is strongly associated with reduced critical thinking skills. And it wasn't just a small effect, it was statistically significant, like p less than 0.001.
Yeah.
Very unlikely to be chance.
Wow. So a clear link. More AI use, less critical thinking.
That's what the correlation showed, yes. And it didn't stop there. Their second key finding dug into the why. They found that cognitive offloading significantly mediates this relationship.
Mediates. Explain that.
It means it's the middle step. So relying more on AI leads to more cognitive offloading.
Right. Outsourcing the thinking.
And that offloading, in turn, directly leads to lower critical thinking. It's like a chain reaction.
So AI use more offloading, less critical thinking.
Exactly. They found really strong correlations.
Yeah.
A positive one between AI use and offloading, like the more AI, the more offloading, and strong negative ones between AI use and critical thinking, and between offloading and critical thinking. Basically, the more you offload, the less you think critically.
Makes a scary amount of sense. Did they see differences between groups? Like
Yeah,
age?
absolutely. And this was fascinating. Younger participants, the 17 to 25 group, generally used AI more and offloaded more.
Okay, that makes sense. They grew up with it.
Right. But they also scored lower on critical thinking tests.
Ooh, yeah.
Conversely, the older group, 46 plus, used AI less, offloaded less, and, you guessed it, scored higher on critical thinking.
So, a real generational pattern emerging there. Was there anything that seemed to protect against this? Any positive findings?
Yes, there was. Education levels seem to act as a kind of buffer.
How so?
Higher educational attainment, having degrees, basically was linked to better critical thinking skills,
Mm.
pretty much regardless of how much AI they used.
So formal education might equip people better to handle AI, to evaluate it.
That's the suggestion. It seems to build those foundational skills needed to question information, even if it comes from a sophisticated AI.
That's encouraging. Okay, so that's the numbers. What about the interviews? What did people actually say about their AI use?
The interviews really put a human face on the data. People were quite open about relying on AI. One person, P7 they called them, said something like, "I rarely reflect on the biases behind the AI recommendations. I tend to trust them outright."
Just blind trust. Wow.
Wow. And another P3 said, "I use AI because it simplifies everything so I don't have to think too much to think deeply."
Don't have to think too much to think deeply. That really captures the temptation, doesn't it? It's just easier.
It perfectly highlights the seductive ease of it.
Yeah.
But the interviews also backed up the education point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a participant with a doctorate, P601, said something like, "Sure, I use AI tools a lot, but I always make sure to critically evaluate the information. My education taught me not to just accept things, especially from AI, which can be biased or incomplete."
So that training and analysis really makes a difference. It builds a kind of skepticism, maybe?
Exactly, a healthy skepticism and the tools to act on it.
Okay, so we've had cognitive offloading tools before, right? Calculators, Google search. I mean, I barely remember phone numbers anymore thanks to my phone. But AI feels different. Why is this wave of offloading potentially more impactful? Is it just that use it or lose it thing getting supercharged?
That's a really good point. Yes, we've had offloading before. The Google effect is well documented, remembering where info is, not the info itself. But AI, especially these chatbots and conversational agents, they're, they're a significant evolution.
How are they evolving it? What's the key difference?
Where they're dynamic, they interact. Unlike looking something up on Wikipedia, which is static, a chatbot simulates conversation. It
Yeah.
adapts to you, gives personalized answers.
It feels more responsive, like a partner.
Precisely. And that conversational nature, that immediacy, can build a much deeper sense of trust and reliance, almost subconsciously. It feels less like using a tool and more like, collaborating with another intelligence.
Which makes it easier to just let it take over the thinking part.
Exactly. Plus, the scope is so much broader. A calculator does one thing: math. AI can write emails, code, brainstorm ideas, offer advice, summarize complex documents.
Right, it touches way more cognitive areas.
Way more. As one of the Frontiers articles noted, AI assistants have a much broader scope, covering diverse domains. So the potential for offloading across many different types of thinking is just bigger.
And then there's the transparency issue, right? The black box problem.
That's another layer. When we rely heavily on AI for decisions, especially complex ones, we often don't know how it reached its conclusion.
We just get the answer.
We just get the answer. And if you don't understand the process, it's harder to critically evaluate the outcome.
Yeah.
You just trust the box, which reduces your own critical engagement.
Okay, so if this is happening, what are the bigger risks? Looking beyond just individual skills, what does this mean for us collectively? I can see individuals potentially losing memory skills, analytical abilities, maybe feeling less confident without AI help.
Definitely. That potential decline in individual cognitive resilience is a major concern. Professionals might struggle with novel problems if they've always relied on AI for solutions, but the societal risks are maybe even more worrying.
Such as?
Well, think about misinformation. We're already drowning in it. If people's general ability to think critically declines, to question what they see online.
We become more vulnerable.
Exactly. An IEE.org piece, put starkly, reduced public skepticism could expose societies to heightened manipulation and weaken democratic decision-making. If we can't critically assess information, especially sophisticated AI-generated content, how do we make sound collective choices?
And AI itself can create problems, right? Like reinforcing biases.
Absolutely. AI learns from data, And that data contains human biases. So AI can end up amplifying those biases, creating echo chambers where we only see perspectives that confirm our own views. Gerlich's study mentioned this risk too.
Okay, so societal manipulation, weaker democracy, echo chambers. What about just like our mental health? Does this constant offloading affect how we feel?
There's a connection there too, according to some research like in Frontiers. If your own cognitive abilities feel like they're eroding, if you feel dependent on AI, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy, maybe lower self-confidence, even a sense of helplessness.
Like you're losing a part of yourself, almost.
It can feel that way for some, yeah.
Mm.
Loss of autonomy.
This sobering stuff. But okay, we can't just unplug AI. It's here. So how do we find a balance? How do we mitigate these risks? Education seems key, based on what you said earlier.
Education is definitely a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
We need to actively teach people how to interact with AI critically.
I saw someone on that Reddit thread you mentioned, Zygomatico, talking about changing how they teach, like making tests more about applying critical thinking, verbal presentations, timed challenges without internet, brainstorming, forcing students to actually think.
That's exactly the kind of adaptation we need. And there are more structured approaches emerging too. For example, the OECD and the EU have developed something called the AI Literacy Framework, or ALITE.
Elite. What's that about?
It's designed for schools, primary and secondary. It defines AI literacy as having the knowledge, skills, and attitudes needed to thrive with AI.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice? What skills?
It emphasizes things like, obviously, critical thinking, evaluating AI content for accuracy, fairness, bias, but also computational thinking, problem solving, knowing when and how to use AI effectively. Plus, skills like self-awareness about AI's influence, creativity, communication.
And attitudes, too.
Yeah, fostering curiosity, adaptability, responsibility, empathy. It's really about empowering learners to engage with AI thoughtfully, not just passively consume it or fear it.
That sounds really promising, a proactive approach. So beyond formal education, what can we all do? Like practical strategies for using AI mindfully day to day.
Okay, number one, critical evaluation and cross-referencing. Don't just take an AI's output as gospel.
Check its work, basically.
Yes, check it against other reliable sources. Ask yourself,
Yeah.
does this make sense? Are there potential biases here? Who created this AI and why? Question it.
Okay, good habit. What else?
Cultivate metacognitive awareness. That just means thinking about your own thinking.
How do I do that?
Ask yourself, how much am I relying on AI for this? Is it genuinely helping me think better, or is it just doing the thinking for me? Recognizing your own patterns of dependence is the first step.
Being honest with yourself about how much you're offloading.
Exactly. And related to that, aim for augmentation, not replacement.
Meaning.
Use AI as a tool to enhance your own intelligence, not substitute for it. Let it handle maybe the tedious, structured parts of a task, but keep the core critical thinking, the judgment, the creativity for yourself.
Right, like let it summarize research papers, but you analyze the findings and draw conclusions.
Precisely. There was another great comment on that Reddit thread from Hubaka, who said AI is a good tool if used actively, like for stress testing your own ideas, finding flaws, but fuck awful as a passive tool.
Okay, blunt but clear. Active versus passive use.
It's crucial. And finally, remember that humans must remain in the loop for decisions that require ethical judgment. AI reflects its training data, biases, and all. We need human oversight, human responsibility.
And maybe consider the environmental impact too, right? All that processing takes energy.
That's another important ethical dimension, absolutely.
Okay. This has been a really illuminating deep dive. It's clear AI is this incredible double-edged sword, isn't it? Amazing potential for efficiency and knowledge, but also this subtle, maybe insidious threat to our core cognitive skills if we're not careful.
It really is about finding that balance, leveraging the power without letting our own mental muscles atrophy.
We need to protect our ability to think for ourselves.
Absolutely. So maybe the thought to leave everyone with today is this. As you use AI later today, tomorrow just pause for a second and consider, are you actively engaging your brain, using AI to sharpen your thinking? Or are you kind of letting it do the heavy lifting for you?
Am I augmenting or replacing?
Exactly. How can you consciously choose in that moment to engage, to question, to apply your own critical mind, making sure AI is amplifying your intelligence, not slowly diminishing it?